Okay, November 7, this is the day after building all this stuff. As you can see, we had a little issue getting the original piece out, and we destroyed it. But it doesn't matter, it was broke anyway, it was useless anyway, right? Why did all this come apart like it did? See if I can get the stuff to sit here. I'm going to have to glue these pieces back on. See if I can get these things in place. Here we go. Kind of like so. Just doesn't want to stay there. And then this little tiny piece goes over here. Well, there you go. What happened is there's multiple things went on. The edge of this rolls up right at the end, so that was keeping this thing from coming out. What I did is I ended up taking a couple of screws, super fine drill bit, drilling into, as you'll be able to see here, drilling in to the edge of it. You see that, and using this here, putting it right in where I drilled, right, with this on the corner, and using it like a jack screw and pulling that thing out. When it came out, it busted this stuff off. We don't want to lose those, so let's go ahead and dump this other one out. So we can fix this up. I'll just use some 5-minute epoxy, clear epoxy, glue it back on, take a rag with some acetone, make sure none of it gets on the inside, and then just take a file and file the edge all the way around. But what really caused this busting isn't just this little edge, because this stuff would have just busted off, right? But what happened, if I can show you, it's on one of these pieces. Here we go. You see this? This is the bit that comes up and meets the that divider, I'm losing my mind. This piece here, you see on this one, it's flat, right? The edge that meets the divider, or the split piece, splitter, is flush. On this one, as you can see, hang on, I want you to get a good look at this. Right here, it comes in. It's not flush. This is the flush flat surface, outer surface, and it goes in. So all this was under the surface of this here. You can see where the grooves. You can feel a lip right here. They were buried in this gel coat, and it's probably not much. I mean, if you let's do this. You get you right in there. If this was the sanded surface, that is maybe 1/8 of an inch at the most. Can't really see much on that side. You can see enough here, though. Right across this surface here, that's even better. So it was buried underneath there. And when you put the jack screw on, crack. And I kind of knew there was a chance. If I can get another light in here, maybe I can just lift it up here and show you. You see there's a big crack in the gel coat down on the very bottom there, and there's another one up in here. It's not quite as big, right down at the very bottom. So are we concerned? No, not really. We got the backup plan coming, the new $200 reed cage with reeds on it. That will, the new development stuffer will fit right into it. It'll go right in the motor, right in the cart to run the 30mm carburetor, just slapping the parts on. $35 stuffer, $200 reed cage with reeds, boom, right back in business, right? Problem is, we got a 40 millimeter carburetor. And like I said, I can fill all these voids in here with that glue. Where's the glue gun? There it is. Right with the plexus. We can fill it in, but what I'm concerned about is when we start opening this, we'll set you down here and show you. We start opening this from 30 millimeter. Let's see. That's 36. Let me put you up here where you can, maybe you can see better. So the inside, is the inside 30? Inside is reading 31.2. But it's got to be opened up to 40. And that's 40 millimeter is exactly the outside. Puts you right into that void here, right? So what we're concerned about, sorry about the camera, is removing this plastic to open it up to 40 and getting into this cavity, this void right here, and having that chunk of plastic come out and into the motor. Sorry, come out through here, because this wall right here will be open and it'll have the white glue in there. Here, 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 and there. If one of those pieces doesn't stick to this plastic very well and gets sucked in, that's a problem. That'll be a big chunk of plastic going right in and getting ingested in that motor. It could break a piston. It could break the piston. What's the alternative, Robert? We run the 30 millimeter carburetor, and it's too bad, so sad, with our $400 big carb deal, the whole deal set up just for Daytona. Or we continue to work on this thing, and like I said, we'll glue these pieces back on, get this circular bit cleaned up. And at this point, it doesn't matter how small it is when you pull, as long as this piece will come out. You know, like I mentioned, everything has to have draft. It has to be able to come up out of there. And I think we were okay right to the point of getting to the top of here. Then again, I'm not sure, man. Look at this. I don't know if you can see that. How wide how fat it is down here. No, it curves in. Yeah, it curves in, so we would have to, let's take a better look at the reed cage itself. Yeah, it is tapered, as you can see. Right, it's, well, we're not using that one, we're using this one. They're the same, but this will be a little easier to see. It's obviously smaller across the end here, right? At 25.3 millimeter compared to, you know, 31.7 out there. And it's the same thickness. It doesn't get, no, it actually gets thinner. It's thicker out there than it is here. Sorry about that. It's thicker out here than it is here. So it should, theoretically, it should slide right out of the mold that we've got made there. But we'll clean all these rolled edges, mushroomed edges up. Make sure we don't have anything. We've got some mushrooming going on here too. Nothing on the sides, but we'll make sure we'll take a little piece of, I don't know, popsicle stick with some sandpaper on it, just rough that edge up, you know, and just knock it down so everything's relatively smooth, and make sure that we're good and clear there after we glue all these parts back on. and we got, at this point, we got nothing to lose, right? We'll push some modeling clay down into that. See, you see that big crack there? Right, these cracks came right through. There's cracks on the bottom. They're not nearly as big as they were last night. I left it in the water overnight, floating in there. You'll see that, well, if you watch the other videos, you saw what I was doing. It's cracked all the way across here. We'll just pack it full of modeling clay so any of the glue, the plexus glue we're going to put in here, won't get in to the cracks, because that'll keep it from coming out. And hopefully we can get a piece out of here that will, with not too much work, a little smoothing up, cleaning up, opening up the bore a little bit back to 40, will give us something that'll fit in that reed cage so we can run our 40 millimeter carburetor. If we can't run the 40 millimeter carburetor, the only other thing we could do is bolt the 40 millimeter carb on in the intake and not put a conveyor in it at all. You know, that's, run it without a conveyor. We're going to bring the carburetor and the 30 mil carb, the float bowl carb, and the fuel pump to make it operate, and a boatload of fuel lines. So we could, theoretically, we could swap it over at the track. Start with the 40, even without a conveyor, and go from there. It wouldn't be ideal, I guess, would it? You know, but what do you do? I don't know what else to say. Let me see if I can sit this thing down. I'll put you right on top of the old 2T. We'll use this just as a background. It's our intake. This plate will just be like a mock-up of the engine. And so that's what the air is going to see. Will it kill it? Will it kill it? Hurt it? Kill it? I don't rightly know. I really don't know. I really don't know, folks, to be honest. We're running out of time to continue screwing around with this portion of the project. As it is right now, I've already reserved myself to putting the aluminum seat back in the cart, simply because we're not going to have time to trim this thing up, lay up a seat, and then come up with, like it says here, rear seat struts for the back, the seat back, the fiberglass seat back, whereas the aluminum seat already has that integrated right into it, and it's right up there on the shelf, right up there beyond those, underneath those Margay plastic tanks up there. And then we would have to work on, so with the aluminum seat, we'd have to work on the hip mounts, because, you know, my ass is not as big as it was when we tried that seat before. Just, you got to pick and choose at this point what you want to do and what you don't want to do. Again, like I told Bob, if it was if you were going to Pittsburgh or Grattan or Mid-Ohio, where you're doing some G-force turning, Gingerman, not ideal in the lay down shifter cart anyway. If you were doing all that G-force, you'd want that seat. The aluminum seat with not much support, not much holding your shoulders in place so your elbows are free to turn, right? The way it was before, I was so big, I was 4 inches or more wider across the shoulders because I was fat. When I turned to the right, everything, my hip was in a bolster, but my elbow up to my bicep to my shoulder was pinned against the fuel tank. Pinned right against this fuel tank. You know? And so when your shoulder is pinned, you can't move, and your elbow's pinned, you can't move your, so it was hard to drive it that way. And there was no forward moving bolster of the seat to keep you from moving. I mean, you were just kind of moving around in there, but like I told Bob, it's Daytona. It's not a high G-force road course type track. It's more of a drag. It's an oval, but on the oval at top speed, at high speed, you're not feeling G-force. It's pushing you straight down through the kart into the asphalt. The weight of turning and going around the banking. So it's not pulling your head off. It's pushing you down. There's a couple corners in the infield where there's going to be a bit of G-force, but it's not. Daytona is not a physical racetrack. It's not physically tiring or exhausting. A lot of concentration on not moving the steering wheel, not moving the car, just letting it run. Just letting it freely roll and run and go as fast as it'll go, you know. So terminal velocity. So we've got some decisions to make, but we're going to go ahead and try to get something out of here. And because we want to at least try to start with the 40 millimeter carburetor and then be ready to switch to the 30 if we have to. So that's what I'll be doing right now. I'm going to thank goodness when I make these orders at Mondo Kart, I always add stuff in, extra reeds. I bought all new reed cage screws, and you know, these things are butched. I mean, they're being beat up pretty good. Some of them I put a little micro cutoff wheel on the Dremel and put a flat slot and use a flat screwdriver to take these off because the Phillips was so stripped. So I'm going to put the RVS reed cage and stuff back together, so with new reeds, so we can get that motor, intake on that motor and carburetor and everything back on it, so the motor is ready to go for Daytona. All we'll have to do on that is change the gear and probably take the impact out there and take the wheels and tires off the kart, because it's going to get cold. I mean, we've had a 35, a 32, a 31 overnight low. Just touches that point and then it starts warming up again. But we're going to see 37 and 35 for a high and 20, 22 or 25, 27 degrees low overnight. I don't want the tires on the go-kart out there in that weather, so we'll practice on those tires that are on it. So we want to protect them. So we got a little bit of work to do tomorrow.